Hello and welcome. If you're new to my channel, my name is Christina, and in this week's video, I really just wanted to share a fun, simple, super easy DIY project. I'm going to talk you through the details and no experience necessary. It only took me about 5 hours, even with the fringe, to create this beautiful plush throw blanket. And even if you don't have any experience, I want to demonstrate how easy it is you can create this. Using this thick Barnett sheepy yarn, it really creates beautiful textures, and it's machine and dryer friendly. If your yarn doesn't show on the package in the front, it will in the back. I'm going to use a 16mm crochet hook and show you easy steps that you can recreate this exact blanket. First step is to create a slip knot. So you're just going to make a little knot, almost like a half bow tie, just one. Then, once you have it wrapped around your finger, you're going to stick your crochet hook in that. Now what we want to do is chain on stitches. So I'm going to create a sample for the video so that way you can follow along really easily. But for the blanket, I chained on 45. You're basically creating a loop and pulling the working yarn through the loop just using the hook of the crochet hook. Once you've made your chain, and in this case for the sample, I've chained on 12 stitches. Now what I'm going to do is create posts. And how I'm going to create the post is so easy. I'm always going to wrap my working yarn around, so there'll always be 2 loops on my crochet hook. Now going back on my chain, I'm going to go to the stitch beside. So I'm going to go back on that chain. So going back to the first, I've already have one. I'm going to go to the next one. And now I'm going to create my first, what is called an actual double crochet, but this is how easy it is. I use my fingers as kind of these scissors to hold the working yarn. You're now going to have 3 loops on your crochet hook. I'm going to take my working yarn and I'm going to remove 2, and I actually will use a finger or a thumb to kind of separate 2 of the 3. Pull the working yarn through, remove 2, and then remove 2 again. Now I have 1 loop left on my crochet hook. And this is creating posts. So always have, so you're going to wrap your working yarn around your crochet hook, go into the next stitch from your chain. Now you have 3, but you want to create a stitch on this 3 loop situation. So I'm just going to pull the working yarn through that stitch. I still have 3 loops on my crochet hook. I'm going to use my thumb to separate only 2 of the 3. Then I'm going to grab the working yarn, pull 2 loops off. I still have 2. I'm going to grab the working yarn, pull through again, remove 2. Now I only have 1. Always wrap the working yarn, giving yourself 2 loops before you go to your next stitch. And what we're doing is we're creating these posts. I'll get to the posts in just a moment. But again, start with 2, go into the stitch, make another loop. Now you're going to grab the working yarn, remove 2 of those loops off your crochet hook, remove 2 again. So this is termed a double crochet. And again, because it's going to stitch up so quickly, it's what makes the blanket or knitting project so thick and bulky. So as I carry on, I'm just going to keep making these double crochets going into my stitches and add a stitch, take 2 loops off, then take the remainder 2 loops, remove those with the working yarn, having 1 stitch. Always wrap your working yarn around your crochet hook, starting with 2 before you go into your next stitch. As you get to the end of your chain, just remember where you started your first slip knot, count that as a stitch as well. And then you're going to make your last double crochet there. The major rule that you need to know for this blanket is exactly what I just showed you. That's it. When you're working on a crochet, and especially for a double crochet, you're going to chain 2. When you flip your work over, like I'm showing you here, you're actually creating the first post stitch with that. Now I want to show you up close not only how to create these posts, but what we're going to be doing, because we're actually stitching on these posts now. So I'm going to go through the front of my first row of posts. That's what I'm going to call them, are posts. I'm going to go and do that double crochet. So I had 2 loops. Now I'm adding a loop, removing 2. Now I still have 2. I'm going to remove 2 again, yarn over your crochet hook. Now I'm going to go into the second post, but this time I'm actually going to go through the back of the post. So I'm going to grab a stitch there. So I have 3 loops, remove 2, then I'm going to remove 2 again, yarn over your crochet hook. So now I have a front post and a back post stitch. Now I'm going to do a front one again, and that's all I'm going to do through this entire row, is do one from the front, then do one from the back, doing these double crochets. It's that easy. It's honestly just repetition, and if you are new, try making a little sample just like I'm showing you here on the video of 12 stitches to start, and just make a few rows of this and you'll see how quickly it stitches up and how easy it is to do. Then go ahead and start over for your blanket. So I'm doing the pattern of 1 front post, 1 back post, doing the double crochet. Then I want to show you the trick to the pattern to get the seed stitch look that you're seeing, and it creates such a beautiful texture. When you get to the end of each row, you're going to notice this almost little half square end to each of the rows when you're doing this type of stitching with this kind of yarn. You'll see in my fingers right now there's actually just 1 post, but there's this like half circle, or yeah, I guess you could even call it almost a half a square at the end. You're actually going to count that as a post and just stick with the same pattern. So if you did a front post, do a back post on that last one. If it was a back post you did, do a front post. So just make sure you're adding that little half circle or half square at the end of your rows. And don't forget to add 2 stitches at the end of each row, because that's part of your first post when you start a new row. So now that I've made a row of posts and my first row of front post and back post, I'm going to make the exact same thing again. So what was a front post? I'm creating another front post. So you're always going to do 2 rows of the same post pattern. And then when you get to your next row, we're going to switch that, and I'll show you that in just a second. The main reason you're going to switch every 2 rows, that's what's going to give you the seed stitch and the extra bulk that you're seeing in the whole pattern of the blanket. So now that I've created, like I mentioned, don't forget this last, it kind of just sits on its own, because if you don't stitch it, your blanket's going to kind of start to go inwards. It won't have a nice straight line. So again, if you did a back post stitch, you'll do a front post stitch, which is what you're seeing me do here. But whatever the row is doing, just continue that pattern with the very last kind of loop at the end there. Remember to always add those 2 stitches before you turn your row around. And this is the first part of the seed stitch kind of pattern that I'm showing you. So now, as you can see, this is a front post, then that's a back post. So with the back posts, I'm going to actually be reversing. So just do 2 rows of the same types of posts. Now we're going to switch. So that was a front post. Now I'm going to do it in a back post. So I'm just going to do the double crochet on a back post. So you're just flipping the same pattern you did for your first 2 rows. Now for the next 2 rows, this is where the posts are going to be reversed. What's really nice is if you have to stop right away and just put this down, you can actually see exactly where you were at. Was I in this row? Was I on this post? It's pretty easy to identify because you can kind of see what the posts look like. Obviously, a front post, it's more protruded front, and the back post is more receded back. Now the full size of the blanket worked out to about 3 feet width and 5 feet in length. But each row that you're creating is adding about 3 inches to the blanket. So this stitches up really quickly. The number one place I always went wrong when I learned to knit or crochet was the end stitch. And as you can see, it doesn't really feel like a real post, but it needs to be added in. So I always just refer it to as the circle or the square at the very end. Just make sure you're adding that as a post. And always remember to add those 2 stitches before you reverse. So 2 rows of your posts, back post, front post. When you go into the next 2, you'll reverse that pattern. And that's all you're going to do for this blanket. So I'm just over 2 hours into the blanket and it's already just over half finished. So again, just remember, make your slip stitch, chain on your stitches, do the double crochet to make posts, then you're going to keep reversing your posts every 2 rows. To attach one ball of yarn to another, it's so easy, just basically make a little knot. The 2 end tails, you can cut those off, but because this yarn is so textured and so bulky, I just leave it. You won't even notice it in the stitches. So now you're creating this beautiful pattern of a seed stitch look. And it's all just, again, with these double crochets, using them as your stitch to create 2 rows of front posts, back posts, reverse that pattern for the next 2, and then go back. And this is what it looks like. It's so plush, it's so thick, it's machine washable, and you can put it in the dryer. So to close your blanket, when you're ready to cast it off, you're just going to not create a new row with those 2 extra stitches, cut off your yarn, and then I usually just will tie it in twice, pull the knot down, and then cut off the tail. Because this type of yarn is such a unique texture to it, I thought I would cut some strands at 16 inches. So I'm going to create several of these just from the leftover ball of yarn. And I've used 5 balls of yarn for this blanket. Because I'll be using 2 of the loose strands, I'll be putting 2 in together, going into each stitch at the shorter ends of each side of the blanket. So I just did the math. I started with 45 stitches, so I'll need 45 times 2 to create 2 strands in each stitch for both ends. So it just took a few minutes just to cut them, and as I say, it was just 16 inches, and it gave a nice long fringe to it, and it just was a really nice embellishment to the blanket. Makes it feel a little bit bigger, a little bit longer, and I just love the look of fringe. So I just definitely wanted to demonstrate an option that you can throw this on your blanket, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Another great look for throw blankets that you make on your own is just to add tassels to all 4 corners of your blanket. So that too is also an option. The color that I'm using in this Barnet Sheepy yarn is actually called Cloud Burst, but it comes in many different colors. Choices are fantastic depending on your decor and color decor. These are so cozy to have, and they make beautiful gifts. Thank you so much for watching this week's video, and please, if you have any questions and or comments, leave me a comment in the comment box below. Plus, if you haven't already, consider subscribing and hit the notification bell. That's going to tell you when I upload my next video. All the supplies that I've used and links will be in my description box below. I have so many more fun DIY, room makeovers, furniture transformations, and so much more to share with you soon. So until then, take care, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you soon. What are you doing, love? Are you saying hello? You're gonna sleep on it, aren't you? Yes, he's gonna sleep on it. He's not gonna show you how to make it. but he's gonna show you how to sleep on it. You're not going anywhere, are you? No, you're not. Guys, hello. You guys just want the blanket to sleep in. Hello and welcome. Sorry. I don't know if this is working with you sitting there because I don't want to put my hand. No, I know. You don't like your hand. Yeah, I get it. Hello and can we do this a little bit later? Can we do this a little bit later? No? No, we can't do this later. Let's do it now. You can't turn away from the camera. He's got a beautiful profile. Yes, you do. You have a beautiful profile. Seriously, guys, this is not a good angle.